The one kimberlite they did find, which is a mine, if you get down to doing it, is a mine called Gopi 25. And the day we found those minerals, I was writing stars all over the report, but Falconbridge lost heart because there was a big slump in the nickel price. There were people unemployed in Sudbury. It was the apartheid era. It was a nasty smell to be involved in South Africa, or even Southern Africa, and they pulled out. And at that stage, Superior Oil, who owned Falconbridge, were run by a man by the name of Howard Keck. And he came out personally and did a deal with De Beers, and they went into a joint venture on all of that stuff, and including Gopi. So,
and had Hugo been involved at this point?
Hugo was the Superior Oil geologist, who was, yes, and Superior actually were 50-50 partners in that venture, effectively. And Hugo, yes, was there at every meeting.
That's where he developed his passion.
Yeah, and his conviction that I had done something good. I mean, Hugo was my ultimate backer. He understood better than anybody else what it was all about. It seemed to me, and I mean, I'm being biased because clearly he liked what we did. But if Hugo Dummett had stayed alive, I don't think he would ever have gone to anyone else for a diamond forecast, because he just, again, it was one of these chemistry things where you really got along really, really well.
Lots of people got on very, very well with Hugo.
No, he was easy to get on with, He was a great guy. And he liked people, and he knew how to deal with you. He also thought budgets were things that you applied for again in sort of September, which accountants didn't like. But he always said, well, if it's a good project, you've got to find the money. I'd gone to Fort Collins in '81 to give a series of lectures to Hugo's staff. And that was when I first met Chuck Fipke, who at that stage was a contract sampler for Hugo, who knew nothing about G10s or anything.
And this is Fort Collins near Denver?
Yes.
Yes,
because at that stage, one of the things that Superior Oil was investigating was Sloan, and Hugo was busy with that. He was also involved in Botswana, but he was involved at Sloan.
So you basically transferred technology into that group as a result of that relationship that started in the early 80s?
Yes.
And then Chuck became a sort of a disciple?
Well, yeah. Chuck found out by accident because he got hold of I didn't mention this, but when I went to the board meeting, the report was seen to be so useful that they said only 3 copies of it were to be made. Hugo had one, Chris had one, and I had one. But when Superior sold their oil interests to Mobil, they closed down their probe lab which was in Houston, and some of the records went awry, and a copy ended up on Chuck's desk. And that's when he learned. He knew there was something special, but he didn't know what it was. And that was a lot later.
And that's then led to him setting up his laboratory in the Okanagan?
And getting money from the Geological Survey, and getting help from the banks. And in the end, though, he had to write a report for the Geological Survey, and the guy that he had ready to write it was the fellow from Houston who leaked him the report, but he had a heart attack. So no trouble to Chuck, he phoned up me, and Rory and I went over and did it, and the reason we did it was because we could see that the cat was out of the bag, and the only way to have our names on this thing was to do it.
It's going to be on the inside of the tent.
Yeah, So yeah, we went and did it. But that was quite a lot later. I forget when that came out, but it's quite a lot later. We're talking like '89 or something like that before that comes out. Yeah. So there was some toing and froing about things.
Very exciting.
Yeah. It was very exciting.